savings since 2020 with up to $15,000 off MSRP when you lease a new 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xE.
Those 4xe plug-ins are pretty awesome. Any special going on for Dodge?
Right now, get up to $5,500 off MSRP on new 2022 Dodge Charger GTs. But with this kind of savings, they won't last long.
Nobody will treat you better than Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Come see for yourself with a test drive today or search, select, and save at hobletdodge.com. Best prices, best selection, period.
15,000 total net savings on select new 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xEs after 10,500 total rebates and 4,500 dealer discounts. Must lease to qualify. Rebates include 3,000 California carb lease bonus cash. Must be California residents and lease to qualify. Plus 7,500 federal income tax credit rebate. Valid only on lease option. 7,500 income tax credit provided by Internal Revenue Code Section 30D. May apply to purchase option. Incentive offered by third party and may be subject to change without notice. Consult a tax professional for details and eligibility. 5% net savings. Sample VIN 716944. Must take delivery by 3/31/23. Only while supplies last. 5,500 total net savings on select 2022 Dodge Charger GTs after 2,500 factory rebates and 3,000 dealer discounts. 5% net savings. See dealer for details.
Your insurance company has an adjuster, shouldn't you? Call 888-GREENSPAN. They handle major insured claims from collapsed and falling trees. They represent you, not your insurance company. For over 75 years, Greenspan has been there for property owners, helping thousands of businesses, families, and communities receive correct and fair insurance claim settlements for property damage. Greenspan is your private adjuster, leveling the playing field. Call 888-GREENSPAN today. That's 888-473-6277. California DOI license number 2E11301.
KHTK AM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your home for the Sacramento Kings.
It's Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings won last night 117-114. De'Aaron Fox scored 32 points, shooting 12 of 17 from the floor and 4 of 6 from behind the arc, including the final 3 when Fox called game over with 0.7 seconds left. For more on the game, check out Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's recap on SactownSports.com. Kings will have no time to rest today. They're back in action when they visit the Brooklyn Nets. You can listen to the game starting with our coverage at 3 with game night and tip-off scheduled for 4:30 right here on Sactown Sports. And now it's time for Chris and Company.
He's born in Sacramento. He's raised in Sacramento.
And now he takes over the airwaves in Sacramento.
It's Chris and Company with Sacramento's Chris Watkins
on Sactown Sports.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Thursday. It's a really happy Thursday here on Chris and Company. Sactown Sports 1140, SactownSports.com. Check us out on the Sactown Sports 1140 app as well. Coming to you the day after the Sacramento Kings get the game-winning play over the Chicago Bulls last night, get their 41st win of the season, move up to number 2 again in the Western Conference standings, only 4.5 games back of that number 1 spot held by the Denver Nuggets. Nuggets finally break their losing ways last night. We'll talk more about that later in the show. Nuggets play tonight. Should be interesting. Kings are 9-2 since the All-Star break. One of the best teams in the NBA post-break. And I was scared. I'm not going to lie. Coming out of that All-Star break, the Kings had a tough schedule directly in front of them, but also for the remainder of the season. And I was nervous. You all heard me on this program. I was unsure that the Kings would be able to come out and, you know, they had a poor record against teams above 500 in the first 2/3 of the season. And it's shown no issue since the break. They've been taking care of business night in, night out. It doesn't matter who's in front of them. It feels like they get to their game, with maybe the exception of last night. But let's talk about that game winner, because that's all anybody should want to hear about right now is the shot heard around the world. De'Aaron Fox last night. The Kings needed somebody to step up in that fourth quarter, and we know exactly where it's time to go in those moments of the game. But even before that, let's talk about that Harrison Barnes touch foul. I mean, are we serious? Are we really, really serious with that call? Harrison Barnes grazes DeMar DeRozan's elbow. And then when I say, I don't even know if grazes is the right term, because he tapped his elbow while pulling his hand back on a contest. And at that point, it's 110 to 114. DeRozan hits the three. They challenge the call. And somehow, even through video replay, the call stands, which is just ridiculous. Like, if we're calling that as something that's foul worthy, that we're going to be here all the Kings Brooklyn game might not be over until this time tomorrow, because there was such minimal. You could not have less contact on a shot. Harrison maybe touched him for 0.2 seconds before pulling his hand back. And DeRozan, it clearly didn't impact the shot because it was nothing but net. I know that shouldn't have any factor in whether or not it's a foul or not, whether or not it goes in, but it's just, it was such minimal contact to call, especially at that point in the game. And for it to mean what it meant, that DeRozan would go to the line with 10 seconds to go to tie the game. And essentially what felt like send it into overtime. Kings had no timeouts after that. No timeouts. Just had you cannot have a more demoralizing play than being up 4 under 15 seconds and you allow a 4-point play. I should also remind people, the first thing that went through my head was I remember Paul George did a very similar thing maybe about 10 years ago against the Kings for a lot lower stakes. But the Kings were in the same situation, down 4 or up 4, not much time to go, and then allow Paul George to hit a 4-point play. Does anybody remember that? I will never, ever forget that. I'm sure you can look that up on YouTube right now. I bet if you YouTube Paul George 4-point play Kings, guarantee it'll come up. Guarantee it'll come up. But yeah, you cannot have a more demoralizing play especially after how the Kings had played great leading up to that, to get the lead in that situation. The clutch play, Malik, I thought was great last night, especially in the clutch. Kevin Huerter hit some nice corner shots, was hitting with he's been on fire from beyond the perimeter this past 6 or 7 games. He can't miss. But after that free throw, De'Aaron Fox comes down, no timeouts. Gets picked up by Ayo Dosunmu at half court. He gives him space. Here's how it sounded on the Chicago side of things. This is from NBC Sports Chicago's side of the court.
You got to stay in front of him. Fox is the guy.
Fox beat Orlando in 3 this year. Here he is for the win. And he buried it.
Told you.
I love that. Told you.
Still 0.7 left.
I told you.
Still 0.7 left.
Yeah. So that's how it sounded on the Bulls side. That's NBC Sports Chicago, Adam Amin and Stacey King on the call.
They've gotten my nickname for De'Aaron Fox out in Chicago.
What is that?
Game over.
Game over.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. I do like that. Because it really, I mean, yeah, once he gets going, it is game over.
Game over.
And you could feel it too. And they clearly could feel it as that was Stacey King who said, I told you. It's crazy. It's crazy that it's just known. It is just known now that that is De'Aaron Fox's time, which makes it even more surprising that the Bulls really didn't send a double until super late, until De'Aaron had already pretty much pulled up. The reason why De'Aaron pulled up, I think, was really similar to the reason why De'Aaron pulled up from half court in Orlando. He just sized it up. He saw how they were defending him. I've watched that shot now 15 times probably, watched it in slow motion, frame by frame. And when you watch it, they just give him way too much space, which makes sense because you don't want him to blow past you and just get to the rim, which is the fear when you're guarding De'Aaron Fox. Is he's so fast, if you play tight on him, he'll just blow right by you, which is also kind of the game within the game that De'Aaron's playing right now, of him taking these game-winning 3-point attempts. It's now putting in the opponent's mind on, and he had the 3 last night, and he had the Orlando 3 from half court. This guy, you have to pick him up at half court, and you realistically have to think he can shoot it from anywhere, and he will shoot it from anywhere with supreme confidence. And that makes him incredibly dangerous. This is the thing that we've always talked about with De'Aaron and his progression as a shooter. The reason why it would be so unstoppable if De'Aaron could shoot 38% from 3 is for this reason exactly. Is because now you're in situations where in late game, you have to believe he's proven, he's shown he will pull up from anywhere. And so you can't just assume, oh, he's going to get to that free throw line elbow shot that we all know he loves to take. You can't assume, oh, he's one of the best finishers at the rim. He's going to try and get to the rim in some capacity. Now you have to have everything is in play when De'Aaron Fox has the ball in his hands and the clock is winding down. And we should just give him the Jerry West Award. There's no debate. There's no other criteria that anybody else could fall under that makes them more qualified. Before the season, I was questioning, like, how do you judge someone's clutchness? Especially considering, a lot of the time it's not this clear and obvious who's the clutch player of the year, yeah, sometimes people will hit game winners and they'll have multiple game winners, but that doesn't necessarily mean they perform always well in the clutch. DeMar DeRozan's a good example of that. He's somebody who's hit a lot of clutch shots, has a lot of clutch points, but you look at his field goal percentage in the clutch and it's like, okay, are you actually clutch or are you just taking a bunch of shots at the end of games? That's something that, frankly, that's been a huge criticism for me and Donovan Mitchell. People love Donovan Mitchell, and I agree. He's a great player, huge talent. But the problem that I see with him is down the stretch especially, he's a gunner. He's going to shoot. He's either going to win you the game by hitting clutch shots, or he's going to completely take you out by taking terrible shots and missing everything. And you don't have that fear with De'Aaron. He's got it all in the clutch. He's hit a half court, full court or a half court shot. He's hit a 3. He's hit countless elbow jumpers. He's got that floater, and we know he can finish at the rim. He's the best clutch player, efficiency-wise as well, which is just as important. Again, like I said, it's not just about taking – the first part is about being trusted by your team to take those shots, to have the ball in your hands in those situations. The second step is, well, you actually got to be efficient. And when we give you the ball, we got to feel like you're going to make it, which makes Chris Verlaud's nickname of game over so good, because it's just game over. There's any spot, any time, any place. Doesn't matter if it's home or if it's road even. I feel like De'Aaron's hit more clutch shots on the road than he has at home, which is another crazy thing, because that's even more pressure. I guess maybe you could argue that being at home is more pressure because, you got the whole crowd behind you as well. And, so you could argue that's more pressure, but you got a whole crowd of people rooting against you. And for you to play that spoiler role, there's got to be no better feeling. How good do you think De'Aaron Fox is feeling today? I mean, you saw how good he felt after he made it, which is also, man, that might go down as like one of the coolest Kings moments, not of all time, but definitely something that we're going to remember for a long time, is De'Aaron stepping up, hitting that 3, turning around, hitting the "Are you not entertained?" and then saying, "Yeah, I'm nice. I am nice." He said it like 4 times to his team, and all of them were like, "Yeah, bro, you're nice. You're nice. You are that guy." No Trey Lyles last night, but it was no problem for the Kings. Well, it kind of was. We'll talk about that and more next, right here on Chris and Company on Sactown Sports 1140 and SactownSports.com.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
The Amish have a reputation for craftsmanship, determination, and quality. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. You know, those virtues sound quite similar to the Keys family and the day-to-day values on display at Naturewood. The Amish furniture craftsmanship begins with the finest hardwood, shaping and molding the raw materials into one-of-a-kind art. In addition to the classic styles long sought and revered by discriminating furniture lovers, Naturewood Home Furnishings offers a vast selection that includes transitional, modern, farmhouse, arts and crafts, and other stunning styles, all available in the ultimate Amish standard of excellence built over centuries. All Naturewood Amish furniture is on sale right now for a limited time. Let the Naturewood team guide you through their selection of Amish furniture that will be with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Live and local, it's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Chris and Company, Sactown Sports 1140, SactownSports.com as well. You got to play some Brooklyn rappers today. Kings, Brooklyn Nets, tipping off at 4:30 today. That means we got a super early day here on Sactown Sports. I think that means Cattles and Rami is only going from 2 to 3, then game night, then Kings pregame, and then, like I mentioned, tip off at 4:30 up in Brooklyn in the BK. How far? That's a little rough trip there overnight, if I'm not mistaken. Chicago to New York, that's probably like a 2-hour flight, 2.5-hour flight. I mean, I'm sure it's nothing for the way that they travel these days, but still, especially, less than 24 hours till next tip off. It's a quick turnaround for the Kings tonight. Thankfully, one of their most important bench players will be well rested. As who put it in the comments here on YouTube. By the way, check us out right now on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. You can watch us, watch everybody, watch every show live streamed over on our YouTube page. You can see my face, Deuce and Mo, at 11 o'clock. I'll be joining them for the first hour. Nyadam, I think that's how you pronounce it. Nyadam. 41 wins for 41. The Kings got their 41st win last night for their soldier. I almost called him a fallen soldier, but that sounds like he's dead. Trey Lyles, who was suspended for last night's game after his altercation with Brooke Lopez and Giannis Antetokounmpo in that Bucks game on Monday. Trey missed last night. And, one of the things I was looking out for was how much are we going to miss him? Because as me and Christopher Lott are tier 1, day 1 Trey Bays, we know the importance of Trey Lyles on any given night. Trey has been one of the more, if not most consistent Kings bench players this season. I've said it once, I'll say it again. You can almost chalk him in every night for 8 to 10 points and at least 4 rebounds and just good hustle, good effort from Trey. And, you saw Mike Brown searching a little bit on his bench last night. Alex Len closed the first quarter, started the second quarter. Thought that was interesting. Didn't get much of anything from Alex. But it was weird to see him just kind of randomly inserted into the lineup there. He's played like a couple seconds in some games just to close out quarters, not to pick up a cheap one on Domas, but interesting. Just really interesting to me that I don't really get the get the Alex Len coming in last night. I think it was to match up on Andre Drummond for a little bit of it, but just an interesting decision. Also, Terrence Davis got his first minute since that New York Knicks game. He's missed the last 2 games, played one stint. I thought he played good defense, didn't really do much of anything on offense. And we just didn't get much of any bench production in that first half. It was a lot of starters. A lot of starters on offense. But then the second half hit. And more importantly, Malik Monk hit. He caught fire. And there's been so many times this, I mean, the Clipper game kind of is the most extreme example, but there's been so many times this year where the team just needs that spark, needs that boost. Last night, after having one of the slowest starts they've had all season, I wrote it down. They had 10 points in the first 6 minutes of last night's game. That is not Kings basketball at all. So the whole night, they were kind of just struggling to get into a rhythm, struggling to, string together baskets. Couldn't really get it. You would see some Domas and Herter 2-man stuff. They would get into their DHOs, but didn't really look like the offense was flowing, which makes sense because if you tuned into yesterday's show, we talked about how the Bulls were played at the slowest pace in the NBA since the All-Star break. And so yesterday it was a lot more like a playoff game, or how people imagine playoff games being. And that's also a game that I've been clamoring for this Kings team to play. All season, I feel like I've been asking, what happens if the Kings offense isn't flowing? If they can't get anyone into rhythm? No one had really stepped. There wasn't a 20-point scorer and then everybody else was in the single digits. Not like one person was dominating. It was a little bit of a group effort from everybody, but nobody was taking over that game. The defense, I thought they actually played some pretty good defense, especially on Zach LaVine, made it tough for him. Somebody who's killed them in the past, someone who's been on a tear recently, they made it hard for Zach. They actually played some pretty decent defense. I will give them credit for that. Absolutely. Especially when they haven't done it for a majority of this season. There were still some lapses for sure. But I wanted to see what happens in a, near 100, 105 to 100 game. How do the Kings, what happens in that kind of situation? Are they still able to get the shots that they need to get late in the game because things aren't flowing how they normally do? And you know what the answer was? It was Malik Monk. Malik Monk was a huge, huge part of the second half offense being what it was. They outscored Chicago 37-22 in that third quarter. And Malik was massive. But the answer was De'Aaron Fox. Again, I'm not going to go another segment here just ranting and raving about how good De'Aaron Fox was, but he was the answer in a game where, again, like you're not sure because the Kings have had multiple tens of, I feel like more than 10 games this season where they've had 7+ people score in double digits. It was not one of those nights last night. It was not we can trust Malik, TD, Keegan, HB, any of them. No, not everybody had it. HB actually had a pretty quiet night. He was just great from the line. He finished 9 of 10 from the free throw line. That's what HB does. Even on his bad games, if you will, he still manages to get to the free throw line and get his. But the answer was De'Aaron Fox, especially down the stretch. He completely stepped up in that fourth quarter. And I wonder if it is something like a lot has been made of, can De'Aaron do it? Can De'Aaron do what he does in the fourth quarter during the rest of the game? And fatigue, I think fatigue management is a big reason why. And I think it's because it just makes sense. De'Aaron at 100, if we're putting two people, De'Aaron Fox and player X at 100%. Okay. Yeah. De'Aaron's still faster than them. But how big is that difference when De'Aaron's at 80% in that fourth quarter and player X is at 60%? Okay, well, now De'Aaron's speed is really a factor. And so I love how the Kings have seemingly weaponized De'Aaron Fox's speed and made it a real a real problem to deal with, especially in that fourth quarter. There's nothing you can do if you're tired. You can't dig deeper and make yourself go faster. If he's just a faster and he's a faster person and has more stamina to him. It's really impressive how the Kings managed to pull that game out last night. I'm incredibly impressed. And I just didn't see it playing out that way. And, maybe the next test is to see a lot of people ask De'Aaron, what was game plan number 2? If they would have doubled you, what would you have done? And De'Aaron said, like, okay, well, that's when we kind of go into pick and roll with Domas. And if they show early, I'll give it to Domas and let him play make. The next step is seeing how well the Kings do in that kind of situation. But that's down the road. We'll worry about that when we need to. The important thing to me in the again, like the overall point that I feel like I felt yesterday, and it's a new feeling, especially as a Kings fan, is the Kings didn't play well yesterday. They just didn't. And Mike Brown said so after the game. He didn't think that the Kings played well, much like in that Knicks game where they didn't play well. And Mike Brown absolutely laid into them after that one. But didn't feel like they played well, but still were able to get the win. And that's the new thing. That is, in years past, when Kings teams don't play well, they get blown out. That's when you see the 20, 30-point losses. You're down at 15, 20 at half, and the rest of the game is just uncompetitive. And I know it's, we're a good team now, so good teams just don't do that. But it's weird to see. It's just weird to go through, especially with how quickly things changed. I'm just used to, okay, Kings didn't play well. This is going to be a blowout. We're going to get blown out. And then even in that first half, maybe the worst first half the Kings have played all year, especially offensively. I think they only had 48 points at the end of the first half. And for them to only be down 10. They were only down 10 at halftime, which is incredibly doable. They actually erased that lead within the first 4 minutes of this third quarter, which is something I'm going to talk about next segment. It just feels like this offense, no matter what you put in front of them, they're going to pull through and they're going to somehow find a way to get things going. And yeah, you may be able to stop them for a quarter, maybe even a half, but you can't stop them. You cannot stop this offense from becoming what they just are. They are inevitable. They are Thanos. It just feels like no matter how much you try and stop them, no matter how much you try and slow them down, at some point in the game, they're going to have that explosion. And sometimes, the best defense could be a great offense. And so a lot of the time this season, that's exactly what it's felt like. It just feels like the Kings are, even when they don't play well, they can go through these little 3 to 5 minute spurts where the offense clicks. And it is kind of Warriors-esque, where it's like, wow, like you just have to try and survive it and then come out on the other side and deal with it on the other side. But it was a great win last night. A great win, and a win that they have not had all season. I have not seen them have a pull out a game in that fashion all season long. The Orlando game was similar. It was similar, but it was not last night. It was not last night. It ended the same with the De'Aaron Fox heroics, but I loved to see it. I absolutely loved to see the Kings grit out that win like they did last night. Even the most elite defenses in this NBA cannot slow down the Sacramento Kings. We'll talk about that next, right here on Chris and Company on Sactown Sports 1140 and SactownSports.com.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sactown Sports.
Oh my, what an athletic move that time by Malik Monk.
Hey Sacramento, it's Malik Monk and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm Eileen Javor in the KCRA 3 Weather Center, enjoying plenty of sunshine today with highs in the mid-60s. It'll be clear tonight with temperatures near 40 by morning. A few more clouds before tomorrow, but dry. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Protecting your home and your wallet just got easier. Get $100 off any qualifying heating and cooling system repair. And keep your home the best place in the world. Schedule an appointment today. Plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating and air. Bonnie.com.
There's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. And at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda, we are proud to provide our best selection to get you there. Buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own report.
How did your roof fare in the recent storms? If there's signs of wear and tear, address it before the problem becomes bigger. Cobex Construction Group understands the importance of a strong protective roof. The smallest leak can be the biggest problem. We provide homeowners with reliable roof repairs and replacements. Quality work and customer satisfaction are paramount to us. Get a new roof for 0 down and low monthly payments. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF for a no-obligation quote or visit trustcobex.com. Cobex Construction in Roseville. Do it once. Do it right.
At Ashton & Price, over the last 25 years, we've won just about every injury case you can think of. Slip and fall, falling merchandise, fell through rotted decking, we won those. Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. Hands up. No fouls. No fouls. Yes. Great job. Timeout. Hello, Sacramento, and all you listeners, it's Doug Christie here for the Good Feet store. Did you know that when your feet are not properly supported, your whole body can become misaligned, causing pain in your feet, knees, hips, or back? Good Feet arch supports are designed to support all 4 arches of the foot, placing the feet in their ideal pain-relieving position and aligning the body from the feet up. Good Feet arch supports come in a wide range of over 300 styles, flexibilities, and sizes, so customers can be precisely fit with the arch supports that meets their personal needs. It's one reason why Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store. Visit the Good Feet store now for a free personalized arch support fitting and then take them for a walk. Experience for yourself the pain-relieving comfort, balance, and support of Good Feet. In Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Individual rates, coverage offerings, and savings may vary, subject to terms and conditions, not available in all areas. Hey, small business owner, when's the last time you checked your workers' comp rate? For many small businesses, workers' comp insurance is one of their biggest costs, but some don't check their rate often. Did you know rates can vary? In fact, taking 3 minutes to check your rate with Pi Insurance could save you up to 30%. Just go to trypi.com, share a few details about your business, and get a quote that's customized for you with no hassle or hidden fees. We know you're busy, but spending just a few minutes to check your rate could save you money. Plus, when you sign up for pay-as-you-go billing, your premium is based on your actual payroll, not an estimate. So your workers' comp audit experience is simplified. See how much you could save with Pi Insurance. Ask your agent for Pi or get a quote at trypi.com. That's TRYPIE.com.
It's hard to find a better selection of trucks ready to drive home today than you'll find at M&S Auto on El Camino, right off the Cap City Freeway. M&S customers come back because they know they always get a clean car, truck, or SUV, and they save thousands. You can get a great deal now on a Jeep, F-150, Ram, or Silverado, and you're going to get treated right at M&S Auto Sales. First-time buyers are always welcome. MS Auto Sales, msautogroup.com.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Ladd with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings won last night 117-114. De'Aaron Fox scored 32 points, shooting 12 of 17 from the floor and 4 of 6 from behind the arc, including the final 3 when Fox called game over with 0.7 seconds left. For more on the game, check out our Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's recap on the game on SactownSports.com. Kings will have no time to rest. They're back in action tonight when they visit the Brooklyn Nets. You can listen to the game with coverage starting at 3 with tip-off scheduled for 4:30 right here on Sactown Sports. It is 10:30, time to check out Coastside Medical Clinic, who's dedicated to providing breakthrough remedies for men. Now more with Chris and company.
Sitting at your desk? Watch Chris and Company now. YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Yeah. Check us out on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. You can watch our live streams of all the shows. Chris and Company, Carmichael Dave Show, Jason Ross, Deuce and Mo at 11 o'clock. I hop on for the first hour. Cattles and Rami, 2 o'clock. Check us all out. While you're there, hit the thumbs up button. You know what? Let's do the roll call. Everybody in the YouTube chat right now, I want you to put where you're watching us from and what device. What, you watching us while you're watching the tournament right now? We got some tournament action, West Virginia, Maryland. Actually, action's about to start right now at Golden One Center. Utah State and Missouri tip off here in about 10 minutes or so. They're supposed to tip off at 10:40. I'll be out there for the second game, Arizona playing Princeton. It was weird. I was out there yesterday for the open practice and all the press conferences and stuff. And I just forget that like Princeton is like a historic, like they created the Princeton offense, which is obviously
Pete Carrill.
Yeah, Pete Carrill, exactly. Sacramento Kings assistant coach back in the day. Pete Carrill, the architect of that Princeton offense. And yeah, a lot of that was talked about yesterday. And it's just cool, like that's one of the cool things about college basketball, college sports in general, but really with college basketball is just there's so much history with the programs themselves. You don't even really have to be good currently, but just the history and how much everything matters. Northwestern is another team that's playing here in Sacramento. They talked about, I didn't realize because I don't follow college basketball on a yearly basis, but I didn't realize I remember Northwestern being in the tournament a couple years back. If everyone will remember that kid who was like,
the gift.
Yeah, who was just crying his eyes out at Northwestern. They have not been back at the tournament since then. That was their first time in the NCAA tournament. They have not been back in 5 years and just made it back. Their game, I believe, is later today, if I'm not mistaken.
That kid might be playing for the team.
I saw actually that kid is now a freshman, I believe, at Northwestern.
Oh, I was just making a joke.
No, and he works for, I think, their media department. I think he's in their PR department, or he's a fellow journalist.
I'm gonna have to do this myself.
Yeah, exactly. It would actually be really funny if he was like their starting point guard or something. Like if he literally was like, I have to do this myself.
Going total ISO.
Yeah. The whole time. Be like, guys, I've been waiting 5 years for this. Clear out. So yeah, excited for tournament basketball to be here in general, but also literally here in Sacramento. Really, really excited for that. After I'm done with Deuce and Mo, I'm gonna head over down to Golden One Center. And like I said, go watch that Arizona Princeton game. Also later today at Golden One Center, Northwestern Boise State. They tip off for the second session of the day, starting at 4:30, and then closing out the nightcap. I know Jason Ross will be there. His UCLA Bruins are taking on UNC Asheville. I don't know if I've ever heard of UNC Asheville, but I know it's like what Charles Barkley said about when he was on the Dream Team about Angola. He said, I don't know nothing about Angola, but Angola's in trouble. That's how I feel about UNC Asheville. I don't know anything about UNC Asheville, but I know UNC Asheville is in trouble. Because yesterday, I especially with college sports, a big vibes guy. On the floor stuff, yeah, for sure. How you play as a team. But especially with like college kids and a college group, vibes are huge. Vibes are massive. Whether or not teams like playing for each other, like playing for their coach. If there's like some on the court selfishness that happens, that goes a long time in college basketball. People like to play hero ball. Hero in their own story. Happens a lot. But UCLA yesterday, they were given some big energy. They feel themselves. They felt like they were the biggest ones in the room yesterday. They have some real star power too. Tiger Campbell, Johnny Juzang, Amari Bailey, who's a huge recruit out of Sierra Canyon down in LA, Brawny School, if you will. You know what's really awkward, actually? I feel really terrible for even saying this, but Bailey's, the only reason I really knew Bailey was because when he was at Sierra Canyon, I'm pretty sure his mom dated Drake, which was like huge. He if everyone remembers, like Drake took somebody out to Dodger Stadium and like rented out Dodger Stadium for a date. I believe that was his mom. So that's all that was going through my head when I saw him. I was like, oh, you're that guy. You're that guy. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who thinks that. So it's just sad because he's actually like a baller. And I'm pretty sure he gives energy like he's definitely going league bound next year. So I would not be surprised to see him in the NBA next year. Not at all, actually. But yeah, excited for that. I'll be there. You can follow me at Chris M. Watkins on Twitter, and I'll definitely be posting while I'm there. Probably get some interview footage as well, some press conference footage. So yeah, follow me over on Twitter at Chris M. Watkins for all that stuff. Want to talk a little bit about the Kings offense again, and just kind of give a little bit of numbers, give a little bit of context to just how ridiculous this Kings offense is and how it just doesn't matter who's in front of them. I mentioned that last segment. The Kings' last 8 opponents, 9 games, because they played back-to-back against OKC to start this stretch. The Kings have played their last 8 opponents have all been top 15 in defensive rating this season. They have played the top half of defenses in this league the last 8 opponents, and they have put up in those games. Against OKC, 124 points, then 123. They're the number 9 ranked defensive team right now by defensive rating. Clippers are 12. Kings put up 128. The Wolves are 11. Kings put up 134 in that loss. Pelicans are 10th in defensive rating this season. Kings put up 123. Knicks are 15th. They put up 122. Phoenix is 6th. Kings put up 128. Milwaukee, number 1. They put up 124. And then last night, Chicago, they're the 5th ranked defensive, 5th best defensive team by defensive rating. Kings put up 117 on a slow night. Like I said, they didn't play well yesterday. Put up 117. Those are all like top offensive numbers in the NBA. And during that stretch, in that 9-game stretch, the Kings have 123.1 offensive rating. That's good for 2nd in the NBA in that stretch. So in a stretch where the Kings have been playing the best defenses in the NBA, any sort of, if you were to say that anybody could stop the Kings, it would have happened during this stretch, immediately following the All-Star break. So everyone's as rested as you can be at this point in the season. Teams are playing for things. These games matter. And yet the Kings are still putting up ridiculous, historic offensive ratings. Great numbers by a team that's playing the best defenses in the NBA. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter who you put in front of them. Their offense is going to happen. It is inevitable. During the postseason, you can argue that the game will be slowed down. But the game was slowed down last night. And even then, again, in a game where it was slow, it was slow. And they weren't hitting shots. Still managed to put up 117. 124 on the Bucks, the number 1 defensive team in the league. Incredible, man. Just absolutely incredible. And just a sign that, again, like this team just showing no signs of slowing down, especially down the stretch. Last night, the Grizzlies finally left the door open for the Kings to step through. And they did. And Steph Curry put up a heroic, it wasn't historic, it was a heroic performance in a loss last night. We talk about that and more next, right here on Chris and Company on Sactown Sports 1140 and SactownSports.com.
It's Deuce and Mo.
What inspired you to write about the Kings?
I'm like anybody else, or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I take interest in stuff that doesn't happen much. I've got my telescope sitting outside and look for comets and whatever else, or eclipses, and frankly, those happen more often than the Kings make the playoffs these days. So I wanted to be there.
Deuce and Mo, weekdays from 11 to 2 on Sactown Sports.
For your everyday vehicle. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP oil filter for only $26.99. Do the complete job for the right price. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender by Norton is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends at American Energy. Right now, get $2,500 off a new HVAC whole system installation. Now is the time to replace that system. $2,500 off a new HVAC whole home system. 0% financing, payment plan options available. There's no reason to keep putting this off. Schedule today, 916-520-9990, and tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Your insurance company has an adjuster, shouldn't you? Call 888-GREENSPAN. They handle major insured claims from collapsed and falling trees. They represent you, not your insurance company. When you go to court, you take a lawyer. When you have a claim, engage a private adjuster to level the playing field. Receive correct and fair insurance claim settlements for property damage. Call 888-GREENSPAN today. That's 888-473-6277. California DOI license number 2E11301.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
There are plenty of reasons to love golf in Northern California. With giant redwoods lining the fairways, the best Alistair McKenzie course you've never played is Northwood Golf Club's 9-holer along the Russian River. The 7th hole at Pebble Beach is a beauty or a beast. Play a sand wedge or a 5-iron depending on the direction of the wind. Down the road a bit, Pacific Grove Golf Course sports a gazillion-dollar ocean view and a green fee about 1/10 of Pebble Beach. San Francisco's Presidio Golf Course survived the 1906 earthquake and was home course to President Teddy Roosevelt. In the summer, you can tee it up on the ocean at the links at Bodega Harbor at dawn and tap in at sunset in the mountains at Old Greenwood in Truckee. Unlike Caddyshack's Carl Spackler, a good superintendent goes unnoticed working behind the scenes. Green thumbs up. There's a lot to love about golf, and as columnist Thomas Boswell wrote, when you fall in love with golf, you seldom fall easy. It's obsession at first sight. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Keeping you company with the company. It's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Oh, yeah. Local sports leader here. Deuce and Mo coming up next, 11 o'clock. I joined them from the first hour. Cows and Rami at 2. Game night should be tipping off at 3. And then Kings pregame at 4. Actually, wait. So then Cows and Rami, is that Cows and Rami till 2:30? I'm really bad at this.
Cows and Rami till 3.
Cows and Rami till 3.
Then we got game night 3.
3.
Tip off at 4:30.
Tip off 4:30. That's right. Yeah. Game night's an hour. Forgot game night's on hour and a half.
That half-hour pregame kind of always trips me up.
It throws me off time-wise. We got all your Kings action here today on Sactown Sports 1140. Don't even have to change that dial. Shout out Skip and Tosh right now in the YouTube chat. And if you're in the YouTube chat, I'm not even paying attention to the numbers, but be sure to hit the thumbs up number the thumbs up right now. I'm trying to reach 75. I don't know what we're sitting at right now. I'm going to try and reach 75 likes so I can rub it in Deuce's face later. Skip and Tosh in the YouTube chat says that apparently I've been making a lot of Thanos references today. Apparently, the artist who drew like the comics for the Infinity Gauntlet is from Sacramento. Learn something new every day. Shout out him, Sactown's finest. With that, let's take a look at the Western Conference with our eye on the West to see how the other teams in the Western Conference are faring.
Where are the Kings in the standings?
Sometimes a team which no one expects to finish near the top of the standings does finish that way. And fans are not only surprised, they want to know why.
Who's moving up? Who's falling down? And who should embrace the tank? It's Eye on the West with Chris and Company.
John Morant. It was announced yesterday. The NBA will suspend him for the next 8 games, putting his return around March 29th against the Los Angeles Clippers. Memphis played last night, so that's technically the first game of Ja's official NBA suspension. That leaves him about 7 games to ramp up for the postseason. 7 games also to get back any potential games that the Kings are ahead of the Memphis Grizzlies in the standings. Hopefully by then, now we have an official date of Ja's return. Kings now know that they have until then to get as many games up on Memphis as they can. And Memphis has made it tough. Won 3 straight heading into last night and came up short against Miami, who Miami, by the way, absolutely ran them out the gym. I don't know how much of it was really Memphis's fault. I didn't watch too much of the game. I saw some highlights and watched like 3-4 minutes of live game action, but the Heat were putting it on them. 138-119 was the final score. Heat had their best shooting performance of the season, 59% from the field, season high for Miami. Also season high in points. And the Heat, we haven't taken a look at the East at all, but the Heat are holding strong to that number 7 seed right now. They've underperformed all year, but they have a nice little hold on that first play-in spot. And I feel bad for any team in the East that has to go against that Miami team as a play-in. As a 7 seed, I think right now they'd be playing Boston, and Boston fans have to be sick at that. If Philly ends up at that number 2 spot, look out for Miami in that series. Miami loves to play spoiler, and they would love nothing more, especially Jimmy Butler would love nothing more than to play spoiler to that Philadelphia 76ers team. So watch out. We're keeping an eye on the West, but keep your other eye out for the East, because it's not quite as entertaining as what's going on in the West right now with just daily motion, but it's nonetheless still crazy over there on the East. So yeah, Memphis loses. That leaves the door open for the Kings to slide in. De'Aaron Fox hitting that game winner last night puts the Kings at the number 2 spot right now in the Western Conference. Feeling good about that. Interesting. I did hear this. Lorraine Fox puts in our YouTube chat yesterday on the broadcast. They said Ja will be back 3/20/23 against Dallas because he's already missed 5 games. Is that correct information? I also heard that on the broadcast, and I have not been able to pin it down.
Yeah, that was in the press release by the NBA.
So they are counting games that he has previously missed then.
Yeah, March 20th is his first game he'll be available.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Miss Fox, and thank you, Chris Verlod, for Chris Verlod. Maybe Chris Verlod should be the Chris in this Chris and Company, and I'll be the company.
No, I think you're doing a great job.
No, I don't know, Chris. I don't know. I think you have a future in this thing. So there you go. Actual correct information is, He could be back against Dallas. Is that on Monday? That's on Monday. So Ja's return could be soon. He could also possibly still not play on Monday because they did mention that he might need some time to ramp it up. He's missed a good amount of time and might need to get some practices under his belt, get his conditioning right, and kind of get into the right mind space before he officially comes back. But yes. So thank you for the clarification. I am not above being cleared up on air live. I love it. Thank you. That's why the YouTube chat is great, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Let's mention also real quick, because we got to get out of here soon. Warriors Clippers played last night. Steph Curry, 50 points in a loss. Clippers played incredible. Looks like the Warriors again will continue to struggle on the road. They've lost 9 straight road games. They're 7-27 on the season on the road. So for all you who are afraid to play the Warriors in the postseason, just remember that you have to win games on the road too, especially if you're going to be a lower seed. Not looking good for Golden State. Not looking good at all. Really struggled in those non-Curry minutes. Tonight, Nuggets at Pistons. Nuggets have lost 4 in a row. Jamal Murray is doubtful. A loss would put the Kings 4 games back. And if the Kings win tonight and the Nuggets lose, they'll only be 3.5 games back of that number 1 spot. So look out for that. OKC at Toronto. Both teams looking to improve their seeding. Toronto's only a game back in that 8 seed in the East. OKC is only a half game behind Dallas and Minnesota at 7. Craziness happening tonight in the NBA. And then, Kings play the Brooklyn Nets. Really looking forward to that one. The Nets, since trading Kevin Durant and Kyrie, 8-10, 5-6 since the All-Star break. Ben Simmons is going to be out tonight. He hasn't played since the All-Star break. And they've struggled. They have really struggled to figure out what their identity is going to be the rest of this way. It seems like they're definitely going to be a more defense-heavy team, and if they are going to win, it's going to be because of their defense. But as we just laid out last segment, that shouldn't be a problem for this Sacramento Kings team. Watch out for Mikal Bridges tonight. He's averaging 26 a game since he hopped over to Brooklyn. He's really the big fear that I have for tonight. That is all I have. Thank you all so much for keeping me company. Thank you so much for keeping me honest and correct in the YouTube comments. We have Deuce and Mo next right here. Sactown Sports 1140, SactownSports.com.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sactown Sports.